Python programming, and we are talking about list variables. And of course this seems to be an ongoing it's an ongoing problem here, last 4 or 5 or 3 or 4 or whatever it's been, but we're trying to simplify it now. So the whole idea was we printed out some random data, and it was just numbers between 1 and 5, and then we took those numbers and put them in a list. Okay, we put them in a list known as a list variable, and now what we're going to do is we're going to go through and count the number of times, for example, ones appear in this list, so they occur twice. Then we're going to put that number, so 2 is going to go in this first position right here. And then we'll go through and count the number of times 2 occurs, and that happens to be in this particular one, as you can see, twice, and so that'll go in the second position. And for example, 3, we'll count that. That's actually twice also, isn't it? And then 4 looks like it just occurs once. And then 5, since it is 1 through 5, 5 is occurring 0 times. And so now we have a new list variable, and this is the one that contains the frequencies of each one of our data points, 1 through 5 inclusively. Okay, so that's what we're going to be doing here. Alright, so hopefully you didn't erase your script from the previous one. This is like considered to be tutorial 9B here. Alright, okay, so we're going to go ahead and use what we have here, but we're going to add to it now because we're going to go through and count in the data list here. We're going to go ahead and go through and count the frequencies on that. So what we're going to need to do is declare another variable. We're going to assign 0 to it, and we're going to have to create 2 loops. Alright, 2 loops. One loop for starting at the number 1, our data point is 1, and going to 5. So it's going to be going from C1 and less than or equal to, this time, 5. Okay, so C1 is going to actually end up being C1 is going to end up being 0, less than or equal to 5. I don't know, go with it. So just hit enter there, and C2, we'll set that at 0, and that's going to be looping through the list. And then S is equal to 0, and what this S is will be sum, so we'll be summing up the number of times each one of them occur. Alright, so C2 is less than K, and then just hit enter. Remember, just to hit enter. Alright, so now we're going to go if data. Okay, now this here, I don't think we've talked about this, but okay, what this is this is like position. So for example, C2 is 0. Okay, so this would be the very first position in that variable list. For example, right here, this is actually position 0. And then this is position 1, position 2, position 3, and position 4. So that's the way these positions are numbered in a list. Position 0, 1, 2, 3, and position 4. Okay. Alright, so that's the reason we're starting up here at C2 is equal to 0. Okay, as you can see here, so this would end up being data position 0. Alright, if that is equal to C1, now C1, we'll have to put a semi or a colon there. So C1, now remember C1 here, we're starting with 0. Okay, something's fishy about that. What am I? That should be starting with 1. I don't know why I saw 0. I've got this written down. See, that didn't make any sense. So 1, right, we're starting with 1. 1 is less than or equal to 5, and then we're going to go through each one of our data points, which is 1 through 5. Okay, so if this first position here in that data list is equal to 1, you see that? if that is equal to the 1, then what we're going to do is we're going to keep track here of how many times that occurs, and that's so S is assigned 0 here, so the S would be 1. Now remember, we're just summing up the number of times that this occurs. Alright, and now what we're going to do here is go down. I didn't have to go down that far. Actually, let's go back. We need to be lined up right here with the if statement. Okay, so C2 is equal to C2 plus 1. Now remember what C2 is. Okay, this is C2. We are going through each position in the data list. Alright, so now we're going to go to position 2. See, we'll be going to this position now. Alright, so we did 1. Now we're going to go here and check to see if that's a 1 or not. Okay, so that's what this is right here. Alright, and okay, so we continue to do that. Now, frequency dot this method here, list method. Okay, so once we do that, this right here is going to loop through, and count, and then once we do that, look for all the 1s and then all the 2s and then all the 3s. But let's say it looks through all the 1s, and then what it's going to do is it's going to say, okay, 1 occurred twice, so S is going to be 2 here, and so it's going to take 2 and it's going to append it to the frequency distribution, and that means that append means it's going to just push it in there. It's going to push it in there. It starts from the end here and it pushes it in. Well, since nothing else is in there, then it's going to go right here to this position. Okay, just take my word for it. Okay, and then of course C1 is equal to C1 plus 1. Okay, and that means now that we're going to be looking for the number 2. So now we're advancing. This C1 was 1, so now C1 is now assigned 2, and now we go back up to this while statement. C2 or C1 is now 2, and 2 is less than or equal to 5, so C1 now is 2, so it goes back through here. Now it's 2. Now it's going to go through and loop through and count the number of times 2 appears, the number of times 2 appears. And so we're going to continue to do this until C1 is equal to, as you can see here, I have a less than or equal to 5, and then C1, once C1 is equal to 5, then it's going to stop. It will break because or no, then it will actually, I'm sorry, it will go down through here using 5, and then this will become 6. Okay, this will become 6, and then once it comes up here, 6 is not less than or equal to 5, and this becomes a false statement, and once that becomes false, then the program breaks and you're done. Okay, and then what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and print. We're going to go ahead and print the frequency list. Okay, go ahead and print the frequency list. So let's go through and run this. Hopefully there's no problems. Alright, data points, we'll say 10, and okay, so it's like frequency. What is that? Well, we didn't actually define what the frequency list was, and so let's go up here. This is actually a good place to do that. We could actually do that down below, but we'll do it right here. Okay, so we've got to define this variable, right? Something I didn't do, forgot to do, got to define the variable. Okay, 10, bam, there it is. Alright, so once again, here's our data. We put it in a list, and now these are the frequencies. Okay, so for position 1, 1 occurs, as you can see, 2 times, and then 2 occurs. It looks like 2 times, 3 occurs, 1, 2, 2 times, 4 occurs, 1 time, and then it looks like 4, 5 occurs 3 times. 1, 2, 3. You see that? 3 times. So there it is. So hopefully you were able to keep up with that, and I guess there will be a part 3 to this because we're not done. Right? We're not done. Okay, I shall see you in the next